Feudalism was a medieval social and economic system characterized by a hierarchical structure where land, a key economic asset, was owned by the nobility. In exchange for the use of this land, peasants provided labor and various services to the landowners, forming a system of mutual obligations and hierarchical relationships. This economic arrangement was central to medieval European society, with land serving as the primary source of wealth and power. Socialism is an economic system advocating for collective or state ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange. The goal is to achieve social and economic equality by reducing or eliminating private ownership, promoting communal control over resources, and ensuring that wealth and resources are distributed more equitably among the population. Socialism often involves government intervention in the economy to address social needs and mitigate class disparities. Anarchy in an economic context describes a system where there is no centralized authority or government intervention, allowing for voluntary and cooperative interactions among individuals and communities. In an anarchic economic system, decision-making is decentralized and transactions are based on mutual consent and cooperation rather than imposed rules or regulations. The absence of a governing structure aims to foster individual freedom and autonomy in economic activities, with arrangements emerging through voluntary agreements and shared principles. Mercantilism was an economic system prominent from the 16th to the 18th centuries, characterized by a focus on accumulating wealth through international trade. Governments, particularly in European nations, sought to amass precious metals, maintain a positive balance of trade, and control and expand their colonies to enhance economic power. Mercantilist policies often involve state intervention, protectionism, and colonial exploitation to bolster national economic strength and accumulate tangible resources. Communism is an economic and political ideology advocating for a classless, stateless society where the means of production are collectively owned. In a communist system, private property is abolished and distribution of goods and services is based on the principle of from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. The goal is to eliminate social classes and create a society where resources are shared equitably among all members. Hydraulic despotism refers to an economic system in ancient societies where control over water resources, particularly for irrigation, played a central role in economic and political power. Typically associated with river valleys, rulers or elites controlled irrigation systems, regulating access to water for agricultural activities. The prosperity of communities depended on the effective management of water resources, with those in control exercising significant economic and political authority based on their management of crucial water supplies. A non-property system rejects the concept of private ownership of resources and advocates for communal or shared usage. In such a system, resources are considered the collective heritage of a community, and access and utilization are governed by principles that prioritize communal well-being and equitable distribution. This economic arrangement seeks to minimize individual ownership in favor of shared stewardship, emphasizing cooperative and community-driven resource management. Capitalism is characterized by private ownership of the means of production and market-driven allocation of resources. In a capitalist framework, individuals and businesses engage in economic activities to generate profit, and prices are determined by supply and demand in a competitive market. The system emphasizes individual initiative, competition, and the pursuit of self-interest, contributing to dynamic market interactions and innovation. Government intervention in the economy is typically limited, and economic decisions are largely decentralized. Participatory economic advocates for the direct involvement of all individuals in decision-making processes related to economic activities. It aims to eliminate hierarchical structures, promoting equality and democracy by ensuring that people have an active role in shaping economic policies. In a participatory economy, individuals engage in cooperative decision-making, contributing to a system that prioritizes inclusive participation and aims to distribute resources and benefits more equitably. Corporatism is characterized by organizing society into interest-based groups or corporations, often with significant government involvement. These corporations collaborate to coordinate economic activities, and the state plays a central role in mediating relationships between labor, business, and government, seeking to achieve social harmony and economic stability. Corporatism aims to balance competing interests through structured cooperation, with the government acting as a mediator and regulator within the economic framework. Mutualism is an economic philosophy that advocates for voluntary cooperation and mutually beneficial exchanges among individuals and groups. It promotes a society where economic interactions are based on reciprocity, voluntary cooperation, and the principle of individuals working together for mutual benefit. In a mutualist system, emphasis is placed on decentralized decision-making and non-coercive arrangements to foster equitable and cooperative economic relationships. Potlatch is a traditional economic system among certain indigenous peoples, particularly in the Pacific Northwest of North America. It involves ceremonial gift-giving, wealth redistribution, and competitive feasting as a way to establish and reinforce social status, create alliances, and share resources within a community. Potlatch serves as both an economic and cultural practice, emphasizing communal values and reciprocity among indigenous groups. Dirigism is an economic system where the state plays a significant role in guiding and directing economic activities. Commonly associated with central planning, dirigism involves government intervention to influence production, investment, and resource allocation to achieve specific economic goals. This approach often includes measures such as subsidies, industrial policy, and strategic planning to shape the overall economic direction, making the state a key player in economic decision-making. Dirigism has been practiced in various forms, with governments actively steering economic development and outcomes. Proprietism is an economic philosophy emphasizing widespread ownership of property to achieve economic decentralization and social stability. It seeks to strike a balance between private and public ownership, envisioning a system where individuals have equitable access to productive resources. Proprietism aims to foster a more inclusive and just society by encouraging broad ownership of property. Inclusive democracy is an economic and political system advocating for the direct participation of citizens in decision-making processes related to both politics and the economy. It seeks to eliminate hierarchical structures, allowing individuals to actively engage in shaping economic policies within a democratic framework. The goal is to foster equality and democracy by empowering people to participate directly in the decisions that impact their economic lives. A market economy is characterized by decentralized decision-making, where goods and services are allocated based on supply and demand in a free market. In this system, economic activities are driven by individual choices, competition, and the pursuit of self-interest. Prices are determined by market forces, and the government's role is typically limited, allowing for a dynamic and flexible economic environment. The network economy refers to an economic system that relies heavily on digital technologies and interconnected systems to facilitate economic activities. It emphasizes collaboration, connectivity, and the utilization of networks for creating value and driving innovation across various sectors. In a network economy, the efficient exchange of information and resources is facilitated by digital platforms, fostering new forms of economic organization and interaction. Palace economy refers to a centralized economic system in ancient civilizations where resources, labor, and production were controlled by a ruling elite or palace. The central authority, often a monarch or a ruling class, managed economic activities to support political power and maintain societal stability. This system involved the administration and distribution of resources for the benefit of the ruling elite and the overall functioning of the state. Progressive feudalization theory, or known as PROUT, advocates for a decentralized economy based on rational resource utilization and the welfare of all members of society. PROUT proposes economic policies focused on achieving self-sufficiency, balanced regional development, and social equity through cooperative ownership and planned economic activities. Emphasizing local empowerment and sustainability, PROUT aims to create a socio-economic system that addresses the diverse needs of communities while ensuring fair distribution of resources. A resource-based economy advocates for the management of resources based on their availability and sustainability, often with a focus on technology and efficiency. This economic system envisions decision-making guided by intelligent resource utilization to meet human needs while promoting environmental sustainability. It aims to move away from traditional monetary systems, emphasizing a direct focus on the responsible use of resources to support a more equitable and sustainable global society. Social credit is an economic theory theory proposing monetary reforms to address economic inequality and ensure fair distribution of wealth. It suggests the creation of new money by a public authority to supplement incomes and facilitate increased consumer purchasing power. Social credit aims to achieve a more equitable economic system by addressing issues related to the distribution of wealth and the purchasing power of individuals within a society. Statism involves a strong central government that plays a significant role in economic planning and regulation. In a statist economic system, the government exercises control over key industries, resources, and economic decision-making to achieve specific social or political objectives. This approach often includes a centralized authority that actively influences and directs economic activities, shaping the overall economic landscape. Workers' self-management is an economic system where workers have direct control and decision-making power over the enterprises where they work. In this system, employees collectively participate in managing and governing their workplace, aiming to eliminate hierarchical structures and promote democratic decision-making within the organization. Workers' self-management seeks to empower employees by giving them control over their working conditions and fostering a more egalitarian workplace structure.